Hey everybody, welcome to Tangle 18. When we left off, half of our tests were working and half were not. And I said that I had an idea why that was happening. So to explain it, I'm going to run the Webpack server. And you can see this says localhost 3000. If I click episodes, it switches to that page, and this is showing in the URL. Likewise, sign up and log in. Perfect. But instead, if I run as Spring, it's going to be 8080. So far, so good. But if I click episodes, I get this error. This is a tricky problem, one that I've spent days trying to figure out, and it's hard to explain and even harder to find the answer. So I'm just going to lay it out for you really simply. When we're doing the Webpack server, Webpack is smart enough to stay in its React brain. And React is a single page application system. So it's always working with this initial index HTML. Everything that looks like this is handled magically by JavaScript. But when we're running under Spring, this path gets given to Spring. So it's not going to this file. It's looking for something that is underneath here. There is a solution to this. It's a little arcane, but it works. I'm going to create a configuration class called SPA Forwarder, SPA single page application. It's a configuration component. It's going to implement a class called Web MVC Configurer, overriding the add_view_controllers method. This is something that gets called when Spring starts up. It gets past this registry of view controllers, and we're going to add our own. So what this means is this first part is used to match a URL that comes through to Spring. And if it matches, it sets the view name to this. And this is a special syntax which is going to forward the request to the root. So it's going to basically ignore this part at the Spring level, but it's going to still send this whole thing, because it's a forward, to the home page, and then React is going to be smart enough to route this. I know it's hard to understand, but a lot of times you just have to find solutions that work and move on. Even tougher is the actual regular expression. Yes, this is a mouthful. Very briefly, in a regular expression here, anything that's in the braces is capturing stuff. And so whatever it matches here, it's putting into this variable x. We're not actually using that. This is just working with the syntax of add_view_controller. And then this part here, this is a regular expression that basically matches any string that's composed entirely of capital letters, lowercase letters, digits, hyphens, and underscores, and with at least one. Why does this work? I don't really know, but let's try it out. So let's go back to 8080. So the main page is still working, and if I click on episodes, it is working. So this is forwarding to the home page, and then the home page is resolving that. So now that we've taught Spring how to be a spa, let's run our tests again. Okay, well, you can see episodes worked, sign up worked, login worked, and unfortunately home view did not work, and that's because I never made an app logo. It's an easy enough fix. Now, if I go ahead and run this, it's not going to work. And the reason is this is in our bundle, and our bundle gets created by Webpack. And so since I'm in Spring and restarting Spring, it's not automatically going to recompile like before. And that's because I'm not running Webpack. So that means that you have to build it. Now I can restart. Oh, view contains header with text welcome. So this is another one where I should just change my test. Run again. All green. Now, some of you may have wondered why I'm running Spring and running this test, which also starts up Spring. And the answer is I just haven't made one change which allow me to do just this by itself. So I'm going to close this down, and we just have to wire it up so that this particular feature class is going to use the right port, which should be random. So if you remember, we had a line in here which created a random port. So I'm going to put that in here. And instead of passing the URL from the Gherkin file, I'm going to grab the local server port. So I'm just going to call this opens all green. And I think you'll agree I'm not going to be winning any awards for my web design here. So let's jumpstart things with a Tailwind template. But don't worry, it's not like WordPress templates. We're going to be just getting something that comes close to what we want and then customizing it completely. Okay, this one is close to what I want. $30 for something like this is really not too bad. Now imagine that we've just brought back the Camaro from the junkyard and put it into our garage and are about to tear the whole thing apart. So I'm going to just make a directory called template and unzip it. So first thing, I'm just going to see what it looks like on my local machine. As advertised. These things are actually a pretty good place to learn about Tailwind and post-processing, so because they have them all wired up already. The first thing that we need to do is extract the nav bar. There's a subscribe button. So this is the full thing. You can see it's all the way across the top here. When analyzing another website, the most important tool you could use is Google DevTools. So if I want to see where things are, I can always just go like this and then find out which div we're talking about. And here you can see that it's a header down here. And it's before header end. So it looks like header start, include header, header end. All right, so we want everything that's in here. So without thinking too much about it, I'm going to go into my own source, put in parent, and let's call it bfnav. Always start out the same way. And then we can just put HTML right in here. So I'm not really sure what this stuff is here. This is definitely some kind of preprocessor. What are they using? I should know this. I grew up in Alpine. Yeah, this does look right. Okay, this looks like it's doing overlapping stuff with React. I'm gonna have to gut all this stuff. Pardon the dust as I do some pretty wide-ranging reformatting of the HTML from the template. So before that, I'm going to turn off two settings here in editor, code style, HTML. And this tells IntelliJ what kind of reformatting you want to do. I'm going to turn off keep line breaks and keep white spaces because ordinarily those are on because it assumes that you want those if you put them in the code. But in this case, it's not my code and it's a mess. So okay, structure's a little clearer now. These things are all a mess. React's not going to like them. So let's do some extensive search and replace using regular expressions. Click here. And now I'm going to match this class tag by just putting it right here. And then using regex to go all the way to the second quote and then grab that and put it into a capture, which I can then reference in the replace part. So here that's matching and add the final quote. I need to be careful with these ending tags, the greater than sign, because I want to put them in the front so that the comment won't mess up the internals of the tag. So I'm going to put the comment, HTML comment, and then that $1 is the reference to above, and then the part that I want to go into the $1, I got to put into parentheses. And let's give it a go. Perfect. Now all the rest, and very important, we should check to make sure this didn't mess up the page. So Webpack recompiles it, and then I'm going to refresh the page and see if anything's broken. Good. I'll speed through the rest of the bits and bobs of the template. Okay, let's see what else we need besides this nav bar. So I'm going to open up Chrome DevTools, inspect, and then click this. And so here's the nav bar, which we want to replicate. And it's clearly between header start, header end. And then this guy here, I think I want to the whole thing. So that is, looks like hero item 1 in hero content start. And then you can see down here, you have different hero items. And then I don't need any of this stuff for now. So, but I do want the footer, which again, it says footer start, footer section. All right, let's adapt our HTML to React. So first thing, we got the parent here, and I'm going to get rid of this whole thing. Important thing for you to learn about React is that this return statement, it always expects one thing. So you can't put multiple tags. It won't work. So you either have to put things into one big div, or you can use a syntax where you just put nothing in between. So it's like this. This is a React syntactic sugar. So I'm going to start with nav, and then outlet, and then a footer. All right, so we can bring in nav. So let's look at nav. Right now we got nothing. So I'm just going to grab everything in here, select all, and just put it in here. And we should get rid of all the comments that are in this file because it's just going to confuse React. So I'm going to do replace. And just replace all. Let's reformat this. Now for the footer, I'll just do this. Footer is here. Let's grab everything, throw it in here. And then the hero section and the first hero item I'll put into about. Okay, this is probably not going to work, but let's see where it doesn't work. Wow, that's surprising. Before testing it, I need to deal with images. So I did not configure Webpack to use images. So, oh, this is the template one. Actually, this is good. I can just grab this here and go to my Webpack and put it in the rules. And then I need one other line up here, which is this asset module file name. Now I search for source, and you can see there's one here. So React requires that you import all these images. And is there any more? No, there's one. Okay, what about footer? Nothing there. About 4 of them. Now I have to create a images directory here and copy over the images, which I'm not going to use. All right, let's see if it compiles. Okay, yeah, I got to deal with paths. So first of all, take out the subpath because it's flattening a directory, and it needs to be from the nav, current directory, parent, grandparent. So it needs to be up 2. And the same thing for the other ones. And see if that compiles. I'll see if it starts. Well, at least the footer worked. To figure out what's going on here, go to the broken links and do inspect. And you can see that it's still got this hero subdirectory. Oh, I got to change them down here also. And what's more? Better. But there's no nav. Let's look at the page source. There is a header. It looks like it's there, but it's underneath this first one. Okay, so we definitely have some kind of a flexbox thing going on. I missed some glue from the template, which I will fix in the next episode. Thanks for listening.